Okay, we're gonna work with what we got. I just spent an hour and 15 minutes trying to get my microphone set up to work, and that was not successful. And generally, when I try to get behind a camera to make a video and things don't work for me, it's easy for me to just be like, forget it, because no one's counting on me to show up anyway. Because I started a YouTube channel years ago, made like 8 videos, then dipped for various reasons. And now I'm not even convinced that even if I want to have and keep a YouTube channel that I can. Because soon enough, it looks like they're going to be requiring state identification just to be here. So, I'll be here for as long as I can until that happens, and upon which I will not. So, there's been a lot of reasons that I've chosen not to be online, and then I get excited about the possibility of sharing again and being fearless about it. And I think a lot of times when I want to share, I tend to merge my politics with my personal experience, lived reality, and profession. I don't even know if that makes sense. Generally speaking, when people put their face, and their personality, and their story online, they're presenting a more polished and more boundaried presentation of themselves. By boundaried, I mean you've got your personal persona, and you've got your professional persona, and in a lot of ways you're kind of code switching online, I don't know if that's an appropriate way of, I don't think it's code switching. Okay, I need to think that one through. But basically, it seems to me that most people are going to keep their personal political opinions to themselves in public spaces like the internet, especially if you have a business that you're trying to represent, right? So if you're if you're selling anything, then you're more likely to just be politically neutral. And what I have found for myself is that it's actually impossible for me to be politically neutral for any length of time. I mean, I feel like I kind of tapped out of the daily intake of news media and information for almost a couple of years, because it was just like too much for me, and I felt like I can't change any of this. I'm going to hyper focus on self-development, self-success, self-preservation, which that's what we do, right? In this hyper-individualistic culture that we live in here in the United States, we are taught that we are capable of doing whatever we want if we just work hard enough, put forth that effort. Historically, I've been more of a collective thinker in terms of my values, and at some point I felt like, okay, I don't even know up from down right now with the way things are going on a larger global scale, and I couldn't take it. So I just kind of severed myself from the internet and social media so that I did not feel like I had to engage with it all the time. So coming back online, being on social media, for me, also as somebody who does want to teach openly and be someone who eventually has an online yoga studio and has my own audience, I felt stopped in my own tracks again from producing content because I got that feeling again that I somehow had to take my politics out of my personality and my teaching in order to be more, what's the word for when, satisfying to the tastes of many. Maybe I don't know right now. It escapes me. How silly, how ridiculous. But I see how I get there because when I am observing other folks in the wellness business and they're peddling their wares and they're selling their retreats, their classes, there's scarcely a mention of the individual politics of the studio owner or the teacher or the guru. And I have been seeing that as problematic. So I'm trying to bring it back here. But I'm getting lost on my own tangents, my own sidebars. I want to be here and I want to be here online. I want to be able to be myself, like actually myself, like. And I feel like that's important as a yoga teacher and as an individual who's both opinionated and articulate. Because these categories that we have for ourselves that don't allow us to blur the lines between the professional and the personal make us kind of extract very important parts of our ideals and values from our professional personas as to make ourselves more palatable, that's the word I was looking for, to a wider audience. I have accepted that I don't really care if I'm palatable to a wider audience. I don't care. And I've also accepted that the common denominator for me in terms of what matters the most is actually our collective liberation, meaning our ability to be free of oppressive systems that are becoming increasingly more tangibly felt, right? So it seemed to me that if I want to go online and teach yoga as myself at this time, that I actually have to take into consideration and work from the greater context that is in the United States, an authoritarian takeover that is currently happening right now, that I do not wish to ignore out of convenience, so that I can offer a product. So it's like I was spending all this time kind of waiting for the right opportunity to bring myself online again while I worked steadfast to purchase a home at a time where it's becoming increasingly impossible. Setting it up here, then the house that is, and the home, and coming back online and starting to interact on social media again, and just realizing that it's impossible for me to take in information from the outer world about the reality of the larger situation and not speak on it. So when I started my Instagram, it was intended to be Jessica's little wellness page, network, space where I show how I go about living a healthier life. I mean, whatever. I guess I could still do that, but I don't think it's very helpful right now. I'm just rambling to a camera. I don't know whether or not I'll post this or if there's even a point. I guess the point that I'm trying to get at is that I want to be here. I want to bring my yoga. I want to bring yoga that is appropriate for all kinds of people, all kinds of bodies, ages, levels of interest, and abilities. I want to couple it with my own personality and style. And I don't want to be expected to divorce myself from my own ideals and politics for the purposes of making a buck. So, I'm not going to. And forever whom my approach, products, services, whatever, are appealing, useful, and helpful, that is who it's for. Everyone else, I don't really care. I don't feel like I need to cater to anyone. I don't feel like I need to convince anyone of anything. So, hi, I'm Jess. I've been teaching yoga for 11 years. When I originally started this YouTube channel, I thought it was going to be about yoga for recovery because I was subscribing to this very specific idea of recovery as complete sobriety, because that is what we've been told and taught and shoved down our throats. That's not actually what it is for me. That's another video. But here I am. I'm going to present myself and my yoga as it is at this time, and I'm going to make the yoga classes and sessions and talks relevant to the greater context of the world that we're living in right now as things collapse. So welcome, thank you, and I appreciate your patience and your support. Stay tuned.